Okay, a couple of weeks ago, I did a fingerstyle arrangement of Your Song by Elton John. A few people asked me to do a lesson on this. So here it is. Okay, so to start with, I did it in the key of D. The record key is E flat, but D, of course, is easier for us guitar folks. And also, I used a drop D tuning, like that nice low D, being in the key of D. And when I played it, I did use a capo at the first fret, which brought it into the record key. And it also, when you use a capo, it shortens the scale of your guitar a little bit, so it makes some of the stretches easier. Not a ton, but a couple stretches here. And the other thing, it lowers your action to how it is off the first fret. So that's the height of your action is the first fret as opposed to the nut, and that's, it's pretty significant. Makes it easier to play overall. All right, so we're going to start out by doing the introduction. And just pay attention to the chord shapes that you see there. Notice my thumb is going to be playing the low notes, the bass notes. The rest of my finger is going to be arpeggiating. And here it is. Also notice that no matter what the chord is, the bass note is D. That makes it sound a little unique. And I think it has that. That's what gives it that recognizable sound as the beginning of this tune. So one more time. Sorry. Okay. All right, so that's the intro. Okay. Now, before we get to the verse, all right, so a couple things on when you're doing this type of arrangements, fingerstyle arrangements or whatever. So in a nutshell, you're playing through the chord changes. At least this is how I do it. And then you're putting the chord changes in a spot where you can pull out the melody and the chord itself, and hopefully some little bass notes, some bass notes. So just like this first line. Just as if you were singing it, but you're not. Your guitar's singing it. So it's good to know where you're going. So if you set those chords up and you're playing through like in time, that's what's going to make it flow. And also as you're playing this, let the chords ring as much as possible. Like when you're arpeggiating, or if you hit the chord and then melody notes playing, let everything ring as much as possible. Also, the other thing to note is, before I begin this, if you're not a standard notation reader and you look at the tab, that's fine. The tab and the chord diagrams pretty much tell you the whole story, but you may want to use the standard notation just to look at what's up stem, what's down stem notes. Up stem notes are your melody, so that you're going to bring that out more, and your down stem notes, that's your accompaniment. Keep them a little bit more in the background. And if you're doing this, I assume you know how the tune goes anyway, so it doesn't even matter. All right, so let's do this. Let's work through this verse. All right, so the It's a Little Bit Funny part. Just your basic D, right? So see, there's this G major 7 chord. The major 7 note itself is on top, that F sharp. That's the funny, right? And then that arpeggiation at the end, those 16th notes. Because there's space at the end of the measure, so you want to keep it some movement going. So again, that first measure. Chord is A, 7 over C sharp. Just feeling inside, right? So again, that first half a beat, there's no melody, so we fill in with that C sharp and G, and then the melody, and then it goes to this F sharp minor, little unconventional looking because of the F sharp is on the 4th fret now, not the 2nd fret. And you got this F sharp minor triad on top. That's the melody note. And then arpeggiate because there's space at the end. So that whole first line, or really it's just 2 measures. Okay, next line, B minor. So I hit the chord, and that F sharp out of the chord fills space at the beginning of the measure. B minor over A. B minor over G sharp. Again, these first 2 notes. So your G sharp is at the 6th fret now, not the 4th fret because of the drop B tuning. So you hit that G sharp, open D. Melody note, stem's going up. And then G major 7 chord. Now that da 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 da. So that melody there, all those notes are pretty much out of the chord, so it makes the chord. So it sort of functions as the melody and the harmony, in a sense, all in one. The only note that's not in the chord is that E. And of course, you're letting this G on the 5th fret. Drop D because G's on the 5th, not the 3rd anymore. Alright, moving along. Okay, now we got D over A. So I use this shape. So, you know, you can do. So you got an F sharp up here, you got an F sharp here. And then A6. A6 because this note your pinky's on, that 7th fret on the 2nd string, that's the 6th, that's the F sharp. And then 7-5-0. Now that 5-0, those is actually the same note, but I put them on adjacent strings so you can just roll. Roll. And now F sharp over A sharp. So A sharp on the 8th fret, not the 6th fret. And I let that ring as much as possible, but now I just take I take my 2nd finger and put it on that B up there. But everything else I let ring. I'll just leave my fingers there. B minor, this denotes that's the melody on top. And then arpeggiate, fill space, and then D5. So when you see D5 or G5 or whatever it is, that just means it's the root in the 5th, no 3rd. Could also be considered a power chord, right? So we hit that D5, establish that D sound. Now here, I have this E minor thing split up in 2 because we have a high melody up here, this high B. So I play some of the chord up there, and I'm using these open strings as part of the chord as well. And then that's the E minor 9. That's the F sharp. That's the E minor 9. And notice the E's on the 2nd fret, and I tend to play with my thumb. I just got in that habit. And then G. So that G and that open D fills that space in the beginning. And then the G chord, just those open strings, 2, 3, and 4. Put your first finger on the D. Melody note, A. That little arpeggiation, fill it in. And then A sus A. 1970s. Okay, then it repeats, and now that second ending, it's going to do that same G chord. And then D. And again, just this D, take this F sharp, put it here. Those down stem notes fill. And then G5 over D. It creates that suspended sound. Now that A7 over C sharp chord we've been using. Same principle, fill in the beginning, right, those low notes. This is, and you can tell, yeah, everybody. That's the B minor, unconventional, because your B now is at the 9th fret. E minor 7. Mostly open strings. Melody. G major 7 again, that same shape we've been using. That's C, A7 over C sharp. E minor 7 again. Now the I hope you don't mind part. B minor. B minor over A. Now this is a stretchy part. So now here's a spot where, you know, that drop D comes in handy, because this G sharp would have been way down here and I never would have been able to reach these notes up here. As it is, it's kind of a stretch. So I'm playing this 6th fret with my thumb, then I'm reaching up here with my, while I hold that down, while I reach this note on that B on the 7th fret here, and just play that little, it's very pentatonic actually. And now a different G major 7 shape, because that B melody note is on the top. That's what we want. And then you see over that chord, that little arc in the dot, that's a fermata. That means hold extra long. So like a dramatic pause. Hit that B again while we're letting that chord ring out. And now. So just that D bass note with these melody notes. E minor. A little out of tune, sorry. And then G major 7. Right, that whole A sus, A thing again. Now it goes back to the beginning, to the intro and everything. And then the last time, after I hope you don't mind, it does one more I hope you don't mind, like a tag, a little more dramatic. So now this last time it goes. That's the dramatic part. So this is the same. It just hits that open A. And you see the chord shape above that. It's really not a chord, but it just lets you know where to put your fingers to start that little riff or that little phrase for the melody. And then back to this other part, that wacky stretchy part, that G major 7 chord. And now it takes the song out. And then it ends with the intro. that's it. All right, so I hope that made some sense to you. If you want to do the tune, I hope it might have helped you in some way to explain it. Anyway, so I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and till next time. All right, take care. Bye.